Almost there. Almost live. Not quite live yet, I don't think. I gotta wait for the thing to stop spinning. Yay, there we go. Happy Thursday, everybody. Um, I want to talk to you and share some wisdom with you today. I know it's wisdom. It isn't because this doesn't come from me. The wisdom comes from the person who is my teacher. And she is not an EFT person. She has nothing to do with tapping. She's been my teacher for a lot of years. And the reason I'm talking about this today is because of a comment about helping someone else came up, helping someone else with surrogate tapping. And that comes up periodically. I get asked this in this group actually fairly often. So I wanted to talk to you about it. And surrogate tapping is not something that I'm a huge fan of, tapping for somebody else. It's not my thing. And I'm going to tell you why. Now, surrogate tapping for animals is fabulous. I have several videos out about that. I enthusiastically tell you to please surrogate tap for animals. Your animals, all of them. Just do it. It's great. But animals are not the same as humans. And usually the question about surrogate tapping comes from someone who genuinely wants to help someone else. But I have this series of questions for you that my teacher has trained me to ask myself. That person is a fully formed soul the same as you and a powerful creator. And they're having their own experience. Did they call you up and ask you to help? The answer to that question is usually no. I got to tell you. But if they did, and you're engaged in helping someone, how attached are you to outcome? And because you are human, and I talk about this too, because we are human, our perspective is a little limited. We're in human form. And there's no way to know what someone's soul path might be or what they might need for their very greatest spiritual growth in this lifetime. And I'm not saying this to you to try to convince you that we live many lifetimes. That's not the point here. Just the fact that everybody's got a soul path. And in your desire to help them, do you have an idea about what their outcome needs to be? And in what way might you be interfering with their path? Now, the other thing that comes up, and this comes up for people who are in the healing arts business. And this group of over 1,100 of us contains many of us. There are therapists and energy workers and doctors and nurses and naturopaths in here. And there are other EFT practitioners. There are people who are practicing a variety of modalities in this group who may or may not be in here under their own name. A number of them are actually quite well known. And they hang out here in my group, which is a great honor for me. I love it. I love it. And a lot of people who are in the helping others profession come to me for help. Because we do need it. We do need it. And again, from my teacher and my knowledge with this, it's always easier to help somebody else with their stuff than it is to look at your own. And it's more fun too. You get that rush. You did something good and they feel better. And, it feeds you. in a way. It does. But when you are having the thought, and this is, I'll relate it back to surrogate tapping here in a minute. And I think all of us in the helping profession have had this thought at least occasionally. For some of us, it may be more consistent or persistent. Do you think, this is my teacher again, I can hear in my head, do you think that you are the only person on the planet who can help this person? It's a good question. Now, if your situation is that you're going to run into a burning building to help get somebody out, then yeah, you probably are the only one. It doesn't apply to that. It applies to you thinking that they may need what you do. And I got to tell you, there are a zillion modalities out there. In my experience, almost all of them are excellent. There are a zillion practitioners of these out there, and they're great. Some of them are just great at it. Some not so much, but there is a lot of wonderful stuff out there. And I never tell people that my way is the only way you can feel better, because that's not true. I know for a fact it's not true. My way may be a quicker way. It may be better for a certain thing or not better for a certain thing. But when you're having the thought that you are the only person who can do this, as my teacher would say, she'd look at me and she'd laugh and she'd say, "Oh, sweetheart, get your ego out of the way. Get your ego back where it belongs, walking behind you instead of leading the way. You aren't the only one. And you aren't the only one." So I want everybody to kind of calm down. And yes, there are a lot of people in the world who do need help, who are asking for help. And there are other people who talk about surrogate tapping and teach it and use it. And my views about this are probably not the same as theirs. I don't really listen to them. I simply have to go with what I know and feels right for me. But because there are so many of you in here in the healing arts, I want you asking these questions because it will help you keep yourself clear. You've got to put your own oxygen mask on first. We know there's a reason for that on the plane, because if you don't, then you are going to render yourself unconscious and useless to anybody else around you on the plane. And we don't want that. I also see a lot of people who are quote unquote healers. That's really kind of a misnomer, but they're out there and they're doing this great work and they're helping a lot of people in the world. And their own physiology is breaking down. They're in a lot of pain. I mean, I've been to conferences before with these people who are practicing all these things and they're doing really great work. And you look at them, you go, oh my God, that person is limping and bent over and, weighs 100 pounds more than they probably can healthily carry. It's like, what is going on here? And usually what's happened is that they have gotten so caught up in the give cycle that they are completely neglecting themselves. And it's an ego problem. It comes from feeling not good enough about yourself. That's what starts that cycle. Okay? And as it relates to surrogate tapping, before you surrogate tap for someone, I want you to ask yourself, can they tap for themselves? And the answer is usually yeah, sometimes not, but there are circumstances. I am not the judge here of the circumstance. I'm just giving you some questions to ask yourself before you do this. So, can they tap for themselves? And if the answer is yes, why are they not doing it? Because actions speak louder than words. We all know this. It's an old saying. If they say they want this thing, but they are not willing to take any action on their own to get better, leave them be, maybe. Maybe it's not up to you. When I encounter something like that, I know it's not up to me. I just say bless them and let them go on about their path, even though it may make me sad to see that. I have to know that it's not my business. So another thing, if they are, maybe turn them on to some video work. There are a lot of videos out there, and they're not just mine. Good heavens. My friend Brad Yates has over 1,000 videos. 1,000! I love that. Another friend of mine, Julie Schiffman, has, pardon me, I've got the hiccups. Hey, Julie. She has hundreds of videos out there, all designed to help people. I'm not the only one producing video work that's excellent. They are both great practitioners. They're tappers. There's a lot of other work out there in video, not just mine. Maybe steer that person gently towards someone else's work, because it doesn't necessarily have to be up to you to help them. Maybe give them just a little help, just a little push, a little steer, rather than going, I'll fix it for you. So that may not be your intent. And the person who asked the question about surrogate tapping had an instance where it was someone on the other side of the world. The person did not have the ability to tap for themselves. It had a good outcome. I certainly understand that there may be a special circumstance. Again, I am not judging your experience or you. I am not judging your use of surrogate tapping, but I am asking you to keep your own energy clear. Do your own work first. Do your own work every day. And if you are not in the healing arts, this applies to you too, because y'all want to help somebody else. It makes us feel good. We are wired as human beings to want to help each other. It is one of our coolest, most fabulous attributes. It's great. Continue to do that. Continue to use that. But when you find yourself over-helping a little, or wanting to really control a little bit, really go back and ask yourself these questions. The other thing is that we are mirrors for each other. When you're seeing a situation you really don't like in somebody else and it's showing up in your experience over and over again, that is a reflection of something that you may need to look at in you, which is a really cool thing. It's not always easy to look at, but it is a really cool way of having that set up. Oh my gosh, humans are elegant. So again, that's my 2 cents on a lot of stuff for today. Don't forget, I will be doing live tapping work tomorrow in this group at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I would love to have you on board for that. If you'd like some live help from me, we'll be doing that. All you have to do is be there tomorrow and ask in the chat, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I will see you again soon. If you have questions or comments, leave them below this video. I am present in this group on a regular basis, and I do try to answer all the questions and respond to the comments. I'll do my best. I don't know the answer to everything, but I will do my best. Great love to all of you. Mwah. Thanks for watching today. See you soon.